Hi, my friends. Just want to do a quick update. I hope this ain't. I'm kind of keeping this as a personal diary too, a video diary, so I apologize. But anyway, so really exhausted. I'm sore because I got up at about 5 o'clock this morning and had a job all day at a construction site, clean up. Oh, it was terrifying. Concrete. Oh my gosh, wood. I mean, it was horrible. So there was two of us that were sent down for this construction site, and from the staffing service. And geez, that one guy, he gets fired within the first 3 hours. They said he wasn't moving fast enough and sitting around. So, well, anyway, so I give everything with all my heart and soul, even when I'm doing employment. I did that when I was in the software field. I did even this physical field. So I am sore. And so anyway, it's not, I don't want to complain. I'm not complaining, just that and I know all of you are dedicated in your heart and soul to the things you do, right? But it's terrifying because this guy gets fired, and then they said that it's terrible because they're treating everybody like they treat it like a dog, a slave, which is sad. It's almost beyond being a fair day's work for fair day pay, because we're all getting paid minimum wage for this. So, and they said that they actually offered me a permanent position, full time, to come back. But I'm going to think about that because I took a different job from a different staffing company, and I'm probably going to do that to see how it goes, because I can't do this every day, because I just got beaten, and geez, shoveling and concrete, and oh my gosh. Well, I don't want to go on about that, but see, here's what's sad about it, because the guy that I was working with, he was actually homeless, and he was clean, he's clean, homeless. He's not like, he's a clean individual, right? And they said I asked him why he's moving so slow, and he said, well, I got about 4 hours of sleep because I was homeless, and I'm homeless and I didn't get sleep well. And they don't care. That's the problem. They it's to them, it's just, you're just a number. We'll just get another when we get in the rear end in the field, so we don't care, right? So I felt bad for the guy, but he got fired. And then and this thing is, it was rough. And I don't mean to go on about it. I had a lot to say about this, is that, that's the way it works in these day labor, short-term staffing things with construction sites, is that they tend to treat you just like a dog, because they don't care whether you come back, number one, and they just constantly run you, and they can degrade you, disrespect you. Not all, but I'm not going to say that at all. And everybody, this goes on in everybody's employment workforce, but this stuff is a whole new level. It's constantly barking at you, onto you, and just pushing your buttons right and left. If you want to learn how to become a saint, because I've worked in corporate world, and this is beyond corporate world, because some of these folks are just downright dang rotten. And so here's the thing that really bothers me about this, is that in this type of environment and the field that they hire for, that what I've always noticed, they have something they have to get done by noon or 1. Okay, so you get up in the mornings, something emergency, like they're gonna have an inspection, or they got somebody's gonna be moving in, or there's always something. That's why they hired those last minute, and that's why it's not long term, because there's emergency, right? So the first minute that you're on schedule, they run you hard in the morning to make sure they're on schedule and get their stuff, because their emergency becomes yours, and they're just hounding you constantly. So once you get to there, I've seen this so many times that's when they said, oh, we're on schedule now, so let's fire that guy, or they'll cut your labor short. Because the other day I worked a job like that, and I thought it was an 8-hour day pay, and he cut us both out after 4 hours, because that's the minimum requirement that they require to send somebody out there. Okay, so you get shafted all the time, and because you're thinking 8 hours, and then you get 4, and then all of a sudden, sometimes they'll look. That's what I'm saying, is they look for excuses, even. And some of these guys, I've seen them get fired, and it's for good reason and probable cause. But other times I've been sitting there scratching my head going, they tend to start pushing buttons even more so, once they realize that the job's there. I'll need one guy here. I don't need either one. We can finish this on our own. So it's just the game they play. It's a game they play. It's sad. So anyway, so what is going on about? What else is going to go about? Ah, shoot. I wanted to go on to something more important than that. Darn it. Well, anyway, God, I had so much to say. Oh, this is what I do want to say. I forgot why I want to do this. The thing is that we look at history, and any Christian, they even complain about this, and a lot of people are real, especially atheists and people who about God or even Satan or the evil beast system, this and that. We bitch up a storm. Not me, but I said, we can bitch up a storm about these things. Like, why did God allow World War II and World War I and all these horrible things in history and all this crud that just happened through history? Why would God allow that? Well, the things you got to understand is, I've told you once before, there's no such thing as an atheist in a foxhole. Veterans can tell you that. They said they're saved and found their spirituality by being in war. Now, is that a justification for war? Well, not necessarily, but we're kind of seeing the same thing now, is that if the world falling apart, it needs to wake people up, right? And they're being woken up. I really woke up when I started seeing the Mandela effect and things are falling apart around me. I was never an atheist or anything like that, but it just became a nightmare. So you got to realize these situations wake people up. And one thing you got to remember too is that, would I change history? Would I stop World War II? Would you stop John F. Kennedy getting shot in the car? Sometimes we think about those things, and we are seeing some of these changes in Mandela effect, but not enough to ripple our history timeline, right? The reality of it is that you and I and all of us wouldn't be sitting here watching YouTube videos and enjoying our lives that we've had, and without all this history that's occurred. So there again, so we hate all these things that happen in the past and are disgusting, and we feel terrible about them. But God allowed those things so that Kirk is sitting here and he's at this moment in time that I can make a difference, and you brothers and sisters, that we have an opportunity to do this for the glory of our God, right? And it's shocking. Think about even the Lord. He did that way back in 2000, and think about all these other people, his ancestors, all these the lives they gave and the terrible times they've gone through. Because I was even thinking, look at the infrastructure of this country. It's like we have, no offense, I'm not being racist here, but think about how many black African Americans who complain about the slavery, but then they're enjoying the fruits of this right here in this country, that they, their ancestors paid a huge price, and they're enjoying something that very horrible became positive to them. I'm trying to put this the right way so I don't get in trouble, because but it's hard to swallow, because I can't even stand what the Caucasian, what we did to the Native American people, just taking them over. But then again, we have all these things around us. We wouldn't even be living in this country if we just said, let's leave those Native Americans alone and get out of there, right? So you got to realize that God's always got this under control, and we see all these negative things, but they tend to be, I'm not sure if somebody yelling at me or not. Anyway, so what I'm saying is that for everyone that cusses at God and says, man, you're just an evil being, I have to remind myself, God, why would you be so negative and do something so rotten? I said, you gotta be kidding me. I said, that's just downright evil. I couldn't stand it for 2 seconds to let that happen. But again, we got to put those things back into perspective. I hope it makes sense. Got to keep reminding yourself that. Anyway, getting to the light. So God bless, and I gotta get some rest. So that's one thing I want to say is that, yeah, it's a story, it's a script. But you got to remember this thing's under control. And sometimes we don't like it. There's times I'll be honest, I've cursed at God. I've cursed. I said, you got to be kidding me. You've seen me do this. And I'm like, gosh, what is going on here? It's been tough. But then I appreciate that I've had a great life, a great, spiritual awakening, and just been awesome overall. Because imagine if you just didn't even exist, right? Even if people said, well, Satan created this, Satan took control and created this world, and that's what it's going to sound blasphemy. This was so horrible. You got to realize, if Satan didn't do his things, the beast system and all these other things, we wouldn't be having this conversation as well. I would have met you online through our comments on YouTube, and we wouldn't have experienced all these things. So no matter what, you hate that. So that's why God why did God create Satan and allow him to do these things? Geez, right? Could have been done another way. Could we have learned our processes? Could we been through the schooling without this? I can't answer those questions because we learn through our experiences. And I guarantee this ain't God's first rodeo. It sounds weird. So, it ain't the angels' first rodeo, and all these ones that are our controllers and helping us. So they probably know how to manage this stuff because we have no idea. Who knows? I mean, we know nothing. God's given us some things, but we don't know anything really about the past realities, past. I mean, we're seeing there's things talking about, there's so much more that we don't know. I asked God one time when I was in Montrose Color driving down the road. I said, "Is there more to the story?" And he goes, "Oh God, Kirk, you have no idea." Because even think about this, even time. Sorry, you kidding me? I'm choking here. Think about how, for a moment, sorry about that. Think about, it's always so shocking to me that God was always there. There was always something, because think about the creation of the universe, even that's something coming from nothing. I mean, you can't even comprehend that mentally, that how does something come from nothing? If that's what if you want to believe the theory of evolution or anything, how could just something come from nothing? How could you have nothing that something pops in there, energy or whatever, even your God just coming out of nothingness? See, that is so hard to comprehend for what we live in. It's almost impossible, because I'm like, we shouldn't even exist. Because why is there fence here? What created what created God? How does all that just pop out of nowhere? So there's nothing and something. And that's how we perceive things. That we perceive that there's nothing and something. But the reality is, I think, the reality is that there's always was something. Right? It always existed. It always existed. There's the nothingness that was created. It's the opposite, which is so hard to understand. And then time, because everything had to be controlled through time. So, I mean, so your creator created these time, It's just shocking when it's hard for us to even comprehend that. So I started going about that. So I always remind myself of that. I'm like, geez, always remind myself that the thing is so much grander than we know. That we shouldn't even exist, that, because we just came out of nothing. And I said, oh, well, yeah, yes, we did, because there's a creator in this, right? So anyway, all right, love you all. Take care and God bless.